Disturbing stories out of France this week. The Times of London reported that desperate French consumers have been forced to use horseradish instead of their beloved Dijon mustard. And the French don't just use mustard as a condiment. It's crucial in many of their recipes, including vinaigrette, salad dressings. So it is something of a Dijon crisis in Paris. People are scrambling to even find jars of the stuff. Canada plays a role in this. Last year, there was a shortfall in the mustard seed crop in this country, especially in Saskatchewan, and Canada is a huge global supplier. Let's get more on this. We're joined by Stuart Smyth, an associate professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics at the University of Saskatchewan, and he holds the Agri-Food Innovation and Sustainability Enhancement Chair. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Stuart.
My pleasure. Good morning, Andy.
Just remind us of the crucial role Saskatchewan plays in supplying the world with mustard seed.
Yeah, so what we produce here and in our neighboring province, Alberta, accounts for somewhere around 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the global mustard supply. And certainly a lot of that is exported into the European and particularly the French markets for preparation into a whole host of mustard condiment products.
I've read that Nepal produces even more mustard, a mountainous country. Do they just have better growing conditions?
Yeah, it could be sort of their soil type is suitable for growing mustard. But that's an important part, and the weather, obviously, given last summer's temperature, mustard's not got much heat tolerance, so Nepal's climate could certainly play into that as well.
But last year, there was a very low crop in Saskatchewan, a low mustard crop.
Yeah, so our yield was only about 1/3 of the 10-year average.
Whoa.
So that really explains why there's such a decrease in availability of just the raw mustard seed. It's pushed prices up in some cases more than 3 times higher now than they were this time last summer.
And apparently, in some cases, manufacturers can't even get hold of supplies.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I was talking to some farmers last night, and there's a sugar producer in the prairies here, and they've exhausted their supply of sugar beets, and so they've had to shut down manufacturing of sugar. So we've had such a bad drought that it's not surprising that the firms importing mustard seed for use are really struggling to find any supply now.
What about this year, though? Are farmers putting in a big crop of mustard seed?
Yeah, so the higher prices really incentivized farmers, and our planted acres are up about 40% over what they would normally be, and some of the we're within a couple of weeks of starting harvest, and the majority of farmers I've been talking to have said, this is an average year. We've had average amounts of precipitation, and so the expectations is we should have a normal mustard crop, and I'm hopeful then that by the time that comes off, and it takes a couple of months to get shipped around the world, that by Christmas time, we should be in reasonably good shape for having a solid supply of condiments back on the store shelves and into restaurants.
What are the economics, roughly, of a farmer in Saskatchewan planting mustard? Is it a profitable crop normally?
It's a good... Yeah, it would be profitable in certain situations, depending on sort of, what your previous crop was, what kind of weed control you might have to use. So it certainly fits in well. It's not as popular as the production of canola, which we used in canola oils and lots of cooking, baking opportunities there. But it's sort of a smaller crop in the Canadian prairies.
And it's fascinating, isn't that? Saskatchewan also a huge producer of lentils, and I think even those famous French green lentils sometimes come from Saskatchewan.
Yeah, there's a lot of acres of small green lentils. Chickpeas is another one we produce an awful lot of. So that goes into hummus production in a variety of places around the world.
I have heard it said that we export mustard seed to France and then we import it back in the form of beautifully packaged Dijon mustard. I guess that can be a story with Canadian resources. We don't add value in this country.
That's a problem with mustard and an awful lot of other products we produce. Pasta is another good example. We produce a vast amount of durum wheat and we send it to Italy and they put it into beautiful packages with Italian brand names on the pasta packages and and we go to the grocery stores and buy Italian pasta made with Canadian wheat.
Tell us, are you or your colleagues, are you working at all on a more heat-resistant, drought-resistant mustard? Is that possible?
It would be possible, absolutely, yeah. And well, I don't do that type of research. The colleagues of mine that are in the Department of Plant Science at the University of Saskatchewan are working on a host of opportunities to sort of improve the ability of crop varieties to withstand climate change. So we know that we may have higher temperatures or less precipitation. So drought tolerance, heat tolerance, all these kinds of traits are really important. So that's why it's important in Canada that we have technologies like genome editing, which is sort of the Rolls Royce of plant breeding technologies right now. And I think it's really going to be a game changer for allowing farmers to adopt varieties that are going to be higher yielding, moving through potentially more uncertain weather patterns.